First of all, I would thank you for that opportunity to speak about our startup here. We have different areas in Tula Labs, so today we're only going to speak about Tula Auto. There's like a team of 5 people involved. What we basically do is we develop customized electronics, software, and robotics. Our goal, or we already said to, for example, hospitals and hotels. The team, George, Paulina, and Celia, all from the University of Coimbra, over 10 years of experience in software engineering, mathematics, computing. Tristan is our marketing specialist, and I'm the organizational tenant, so I have, of course, a financial degree. So the problems, we already talked about some of them today. I would like to refer to Mr. Mendes when he mentioned like traffic jam, but we also have infrastructure, and now I would like you to think about rails, for example. They don't look nice, they can be dangerous, high maintenance costs. We have the exhaust gases we talked about today. Of course, electric cars are a good solution to reduce the exhaust gases. Then we come to mobility. Think out of the box. It's not just mobility in the meaning that we need trains and cars, it's like the last mile solution. So you rather take your car because you don't want to walk 1 or 2 miles at the end of your trip, right? Not because you wouldn't do the full trip just because the train is anyway faster and easier because of the traffic jam. Our solution is Move. The project was done already in, we started the project in 2009. Sorry. Oh, wow. Now you can hear me better though. So our solution is Move. It's attractive. We also won in 2010 the Good Design Award because it's quiet, it's autonomous, and it has a good design. It's safe and affordable. I will come to that later on, why it is safe and affordable. It is a solution that you can afford. It's not a million. So it's affordable for everyone, and that's important for you to realize. It's on a dedicated track. That's because of the actual law. So you're not allowed to put it in full traffic at the moment. So it means it's like segregated track where only the car can drive. It doesn't mean that it cannot pass like proper roads, traffic, or there are pedestrians or dogs or other animals passing by. But it must be on a dedicated track. I will come to the technology. So our Move works under all weather conditions. Rain, snow, sun can also be a big impact, especially for sensor if the sun is quite high. Our navigation is done with either DSLAM or with cables. Of course, the cables in the dedicated track are pricier than when it must be fully autonomous, but the cables in the track only make sense if you are not going to change that specific track, of course. If you want to be flexible, it's better to work on DSLAM. We use magnetic fields for the stops so that the car exactly knows where to stop at the end. The power is battery, so it's an electric car. The charging is automatic. The car exactly knows when it has its peaks, how far it goes per day on average, and when he has to go and charge himself. The commands are on a smart device. So like an elevator, you just order the car. So you push a button, the car comes to you, you enter the car, you push again, and the car starts driving. Compared to traditional options, Move can reduce the cost of 75%. Of course, this depends on the situation. I'm not going to tell you that our solution is applicable for all cities or everything. It's for certain circumstances. And where it is applicable, it can reduce the cost. Of course, the development is higher initially, as electric cars are more expensive than other cars, but because you don't need a driver and the maintenance is quite low for electric cars, you can reduce your costs significantly. Regarding the size, so we assessed what size is the best. We asked some people that are like our segments, our targets, and they all agreed that our Move solution is correct in size and applicability. So we asked resorts, we asked airports. I just want to show you some pictures. For example, imagine holiday resorts. Huge areas to cover. So how you want to connect the restaurant, the beach, and the rooms at the end of the resort. Our Move is a good solution. It's easy, can run 24 hours a day. It's low on cost, so it's a very good thing for holiday resorts. Also for airports, to connect the gate and the planes. Not every airport is today that way that the plane stops right at the infrastructure, so you need buses to connect it. So that's a good way. It's also good for modern cities and old cities, not everywhere in the city. I'm not going to tell you that you can put it everywhere. But there are some areas where a Move solution is quite easy to implement and would be a good idea. Other thing, exhibition. You see here the Expo in Milano. So you just have an event of a weekend, 2 weeks, some months. You don't want to install an infrastructure that will stay there forever, and you have to do maintenance. So our car can be easily implemented just for a short period of time, can be rented, for example, and you take it away after it's over. And just to connect, for example, the parking and the exhibition. Other thing is leisure parks. Not everywhere in the leisure park you can have rails or the other infrastructure they're using at the moment. Think about connecting 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers. Not like the long distances, but still, to increase mobility of everybody, Move is a good solution. We have also proof of concept. First of all, it was implemented in a hospital in Portugal. We have 2 cars operating there since 6 years already. They had no accidents. They are safe. They're even crossing a road that is full of traffic. And there are pedestrians. There are animals walking there. We never had an accident. We already did the maintenance, which we first had to figure out how can someone do maintenance on an autonomous car. But actually, it's quite easy and not a problem at all. The last car we implemented in Thun in Switzerland is in Delta Park. So there was just the case to connect like the main building and the spa, because people don't want to walk in the rain in the swimming dress just from the main building to the spa. So they asked for a Move. It looks nice. It's also in a natural protected environment. So the energy is done over like solar panels. So it's also very good for the environment, and for the hotel, it's also for its image that they have this green solution in their hotel. To sum up what I said, so we have low operating cost. Maintenance is low. We have good customer experience, so people are happy to use Move. They will talk about it. They drove autonomous car. As Mr. Mendes said before, we have 5 levels of autonomy. So Move is number 5. Can go by itself. It doesn't need anyone to drive. So it's an awesome customer experience. It's eco-friendly because it's an electric car. It's easy to install. And it has an innovative image. I mean, we won an award with it. And it's safe and reliable. So just to come to the market, there are different markets. We have people transfer, equipment transfer, and just think about a chassis that can be used for any kind of application. This market has been ascended just like some days ago and will be worth by 2022 about 3 billion of an annual growth rate of almost 10%. So it will be a huge market. I will show you our business model. So we have now the people transfer. We also want to build bigger buses. Of course, it's different battery, it's different engine, but the technology is the same. And we want to end up developing a chassis that for each customer can be adapted to its needs. So imagine, for example, you need to go to the airport. You don't want to carry your luggage. Maybe in 10 years, it's not a problem. Your luggage will make its own way to the airport. So this is the future. And the technology is the same. The technology we use for people transfer and the technology we can use for equipment. The investment we already did. So the first Move was founded by the Project Cordis from the European Union in cooperation with the University of Coimbra and Tula. And we are already at the second stage. So we are producing these vehicles for equipment transport. For example, at the airport to bring the luggage from the plane to to you. And our next stage is to develop this chassis, where we also applied for funds. So we'll see how it is going. We are always looking for partners and to develop our idea. So thank you for your attention.
So Tula, I guess, is more advanced than a startup, can I say, or not?
We have 5 people working.
You have 5 people, okay. But you don't respect the time of this presentation, so.
Sorry?
you have to, you had 5 minutes and you went for 10 minutes. Next time, just prepare for it, okay?
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So let's open for a Q&A. Go ahead.
Thank you. Have you guys considered whether it could be used to replace golf carts at all? Because golf carts are used excessively both in golf hotels and resorts, but also in compound solutions, for example.
Do you mean golf carts with driver or without driver?
Either.
So, of course, if you need the driver, you still have the costs of that person that needs to drive the golf cart. Usually in resorts, almost like, because there are 5 stars or something, 24 hours a day. So there, like this autonomous car can reduce costs. For example, our idea is that the looking of the car can depend on the needs of the customer. So it's for us, it's quite easy to make it look like a golf car, to have it open. We already had one, actually. We have one in our office that is open, and we used to make the transfer for an exhibition, and where people just can hop in, and it's not covered. So it really depends on the needs of the customer, but that's something that would not be a problem to do.
Yes.
Yes, I was wondering, if you had the chance, what would it take for you to grasp the challenge of taking responsibility of the public transportation in a city, not only to sell your vehicles, but also to be in charge of the service?
What do you mean with service?
What would it take for your company to grasp that challenge?
So to have car in a city, then we need partners for it. We are currently talking about a project to implement one car in an old town of a Portuguese town. So, and there we are in touch with partners that the names are well known to help us to do the service and also to help us with the infrastructure of that specific city. Thanks.
We can have one last question. Anybody? No? Yes, here in the back.
Sorry, can you use the microphone? I didn't hear you. Thank you.
Is there any way you might solve the problem of Heathrow's pod system not working in the cold?
Yeah, so when it comes to Heathrow, it's like to get there is at Heathrow Airport. First of all, they are super expensive. So, and second of all, the technology is slightly different from them. And they also do still need rails and everything. So, of course, airports are a good opportunity, but I think for each customer, the needs are different. So it really depends on what the customer needs and if you are able to do that or not. So we are still a quite small company. I'm not sure if we would have been able to do that at Heathrow, though. But technology-wise, it would be applicable for Heathrow, too.
Yeah. Okay, round of applause. Thank you very much, Diana.
Thank you.
So less than 10 years ago, I was first introduced to a terminology called the AAS terminology, which is as a service. And it started in the technology part, where they say software as a service, then it moved to platform as a service, then more as a service came up. And I would like to introduce the next startup to introduce us to a new as a service vertical in the delivery. Let's have a round of applause for Rafael Stanzani from Connect Robotics. So the stage is yours.
Thank you, Bashar. Good morning. My name is Rafael Stanzani. I'm CEO of Connect Robotics, and I will present you our drone delivery as a service. So it's clear that drones can solve a lot of problems to reach the end users, like crossing natural barriers and also overcoming traffic. But the same thing could happen in the air because we don't have signs, and with the future, with a lot of flying things around, it's difficult to manage all these fleets. We have this in mind, so we develop our system considering this. It consists of a ready-to-fly off-the-shelf drone that we automated. We use an airborne smartphone that goes together with the drone, and it connects the drone and connect it to the traffic and delivery management system that we have in the cloud. So our software does the part of the pilot, and also connecting with the traffic and delivery management, we can have interaction with the drone during all the process. And also, this traffic and delivery management interface is responsible for autonomous flight path definitions. It includes the regulations for the local, if there is a no-fly zone or there is an emergency site where the drone should not fly through. We have all of this considered, and is a platform made for deliveries. So you can manage the fleet, you can manage the deliveries, the distribution points, the regions, and so on. So right now, a picture of our product. We have been using a custom-made drone because by the time there isn't a ready-to-use platform for this type of applications. Right now, there is some solutions available, and we are starting to develop this. The delivery traffic management interface has a differentiation, which is the drone doesn't take off before the receiver confirms that it's able to receive. By this way, we connect the sender and the receiver. This improves also the scalability of the delivery. So your client says, oh, I am at home right now. I am available for my delivery. So the sender could prepare the package and send with all the pieces together. The company is made by me and my partner, Eduardo. He was doing a PhD in autonomous control of vehicles and decided to start a business with this technology. And I have experience with logistics and management. So we started this company in 2015. We received funds from Fireware and from European Space Agency. And we got acceleration from the MIT Portugal. We are also part of Global UTM Association, which is a group of industry players creating the standards for these traffic and delivery management systems. By this way, we can offer our data through our partners, and their partners offer their data to our platform, which means if you are flying your DJI drone in your neighborhood, we can have your position in our system, and we know that we should not land or fly where you are flying your drone. We completed some key roadmaps. In December, we made the first delivery of food in Portugal using drones. And this was beyond visual line of sight delivery. We got this approved. We got approvals to do this type of deliveries in Portugal. And the reason that I came later today is because we were with CTT, the Postal Service company, and we got our authorization from the National Airspace Agency to fly beyond visual line of sight in Lisbon. We will do a delivery today for them, a trial, and on Friday we will do a demonstration for the president of CTT, doing a flight beyond visual line of sight autonomously from their Cabo Ruivo distribution point to in front of their office. So it was a good reason to be late, right? A little of competition. There are some companies that are working in US and in Europe as well. Flirtay is one of the famous that they have been doing deliveries for 7-Eleven. And what we have in common is that they are also want to be a service company. They want to offer the service of the delivery. Matternet is other famous one. They want to provide a platform. They want to provide you the vehicles and the technology, and the end users the companies start to use the system. Flightrex is the most recent one. And they have been doing, they were selling electronics, and it's not clear what will be their positioning. So drone delivery is happening today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rafael. Let's open it for Q&A. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. My name's Alan Haddon, consultant. Can you say a little bit about connectivity, how you feel the network and the ecosystem is
We
developing?
use the smartphone,
I'm
connectivity.
thinking about the radio connectivity. Are you using unlicensed bands? Are you working with 4G?
Yes,
And
4G.
where-
all
and where
the
is that
all the
status?
connectivity in the smartphone we can use, like 4G, 3G, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, but this is small range. But also we want to implement RTKs, which are ways to connect with more precisions.
I think
Sure.
the point I wanted to comment on is how do you see the maturity, if you like, of 4G? Because my understanding is that those networks are really adapted for mobile data users on the ground, buildings and driving and whatever, and you're operating potentially several hundred meters
the thing
higher.
is, we don't need to be connected during all the flight because we send the flight path, and then with all the flight path loaded, the drone takes off. So the server is not controlling the drone. It sends the coordinations, and the drone flies through this. And we have a feedback during the flight. The drone sends the location, but it doesn't receive anything. Why? Because this could also be a source for hacking. But in the future, with more secure system and with 5G, for example, we can allow to send a comment for the drone. Right now, all that we can send is like land or go back. For example, after the drone takes off, we can just give the comment like go back and land.
Thank you. I have a question, if
Yes.
I may. That in itself raises all sorts of questions, but without going into technical details, I'm really interested in your business model, actually, offering this as a service to other organisations who in turn wish to deliver things. I'd like to share with you an anecdote. I was in Nice last week at another conference, and in the neighbourhood in which I was staying, there was a call from residents for the authorities to allow drone-based sterilisation of gulls' eggs, because there is a nuisance in the city with gulls, attacking people as they sit outside cafes. And in this particular area, there were, self-produced posters calling for support for a petition because the city authorities won't allow drones within the city. So, what if you are licensed in some way, then it opens the door to not just delivery as a service, but all kinds of other activities. And I wonder if you've considered those as well, or if your primary focus is on, I don't know, delivering letters.
Yeah, this will be dependent on how the regulation would operate. If they will require some registry from the operator, for example, if they will require an allowance to fly in these specific regions. It depends on the culture of the regulatory agency. I'm not sure if I reply you right.
I guess it needs a lot more work between you and the other parties as it unlocks create new ideas and
Yes,
creativity.
there's a lot of problems that will happen that we have no idea that could happen. And it's good to have this global UTM association, for example, because we can share these same problems and all of us together resolve this. Because there's regulators, there are drone manufacturers, there are drone service providers. And with this, we can create a standard even for the competition.
Okay, one last question.
Thank you. I am very ignorant about this, but I understand a plane, when it flies, it has a flight path that it has to follow. And then I understand that drones are flying now, I don't know how many are flying now in Lisbon, but maybe 1, 10, I don't know. But in 2 or 3 years' time, you may want to have 1,000 drones delivering goods and services in Lisbon. How do you control all this traffic?
With our platform, we can control it.
With drone-based traffic.
We use our platform to have all this managed. Would be dependent on, first, imagine if there's someone flying a DJI, the Phantom one, the white one, we can have some information. But if they made a custom drone with third parties, electronics, and flight controller that is not part of this network, it's hard to have this information in our network. But it's also a standard that is being developed. There are some ways of communication system that they are working with. Right now, it's not obligated to have this type of transponders to send location, but sooner this may start to be obligated. And for example, they could have geofences, like if you purchase a parrot drone, it cannot go beyond 30 meters from the software inside. So there is a working process related to this, even from the side of the manufacturers that want to offer the clients a drone that's part of a network, and also from the side of the service providers and the regulators to have a network to offer these users to put their drone in. And many of these drones, when you pilot it, you have a smartphone connected. DJI use this. Parrot, sometimes you can use it. So it's easy to have this drone linked to the network. What doesn't have right now is standards to communicate it, but this sooner will be available.
Great. Thank you very much, Rafael.
Thank you, Bashar. Sorry for
good luck.
late.